Corporation is canonized in the New Testament by the Apostle St. Paul for saved Christians and kosher Jews. 600 years later, slave-raiding barbarian terrorists from the desert learn how to read, and they disagree. They invade Europe, ban reading, burn witches at the stake, bumble from the conquest of one Christian neighbor to another. They cause the Great Schism, then sack the Vatican before collapsing. The Holy Roman Empire was not Roman. Why would it be holy? It was called the First Reich. It turned the Iron Age into the Dark Ages. 600 years of cave paintings, dragons, and torture, and then there's a Renaissance. Islam believes our ancestors escaped enslavement by theirs, and we are all born fugitives of a debt which can never be repaid. We were born without permission. Our ancestors are their rightful property. See Exodus, for instance, or Genesis 19:5. Where are them angels at? Where be them angels what come here? Now, the Teutonic Knights accused the Templars of Baphomet worship, meaning blood drinking. This instigated the Hospitaller Rebellion. To this day, they drink the blood as he commandeth at Holy Mass, and shoving a spike into the perineum through the body cavity and out the lower mandible might seem extreme. But first I shall do no harm, and then if it's gangrene, I gotta cut it off. Yet another excuse to undermine the rightful army of Christendom so they can play Muslim games and escalate conflict behind our backs till it gets out of control. And then it's how you get Nazis. And for what purpose was the UN founded? But for Muslims, communists, homos, and fucking retards to pretend they're negotiating with disciples of Moses and Christ. They lured us into a stalemate, called Charles de Gaulle a terrorist so they could protect us from France, the rightful France. Blamed the CIA for JFK so they could protect us from Washington. Got Reagan and John Paul II both shot so they could flood our streets with dope and force the Christians to fight our way out with nothing but snake oil and rainbows. All the while, the Nazis are replacing us with runt Canadian test tube foster kids hatched from a beaker somewhere, raped, molested, and flogged with a Bible, then sent here to judge us. Sigmund Freud spent the banana wars shoving cocaine up virgins' noses by the gram with his boyfriends until going into exile just in time for a Holocaust. Hitler junk-mailed the Vatican with Jew skin lampshades until they gave up and agreed it was science. I confess, I said Benedictus was on the ugliest beer box, but I was also in the privacy of my own home. Apotheosis is heresy. Heresy is heresy in any religion. I also got nerve gassed after my first date for cheating on the guy that raped me in surgery when I was 6 years old, in case you're wondering why I'm not married. It's exploitative. What's next, a swimsuit issue? I have never sold cocaine in my life. Our water was never up for grabs. There was no reason to make him do that to begin with. Oh no, it's going to be trouble for Prince Harry? God forbid something happened to the guys that ran his mother off the road and shit on her memory so they could stay in charge of losing a holy war to humanity's closest natural enemies. You remember Y2K from the back of the scandal rags begging you to dial 1-900 and have gay sex with a dude on the phone? Y2K, when they forgot to program the year 2000 into Windows 95, it was going to roll over like an old-timey gas pump, planes were going to fall from the sky. The clerks union had to rape a lot of interns for Babu to get this contract. The last king of Scotland massacred the Gujaratis. He ate his political rival. Do the Gujaratis care? I'm asking you if it's a real religion. They crippled me for life, raped my reason for living, and tried to kill me before I found out. I had no other reason to look into it. We are not affiliated. We were not negotiating. Nobody told me, okay? I missed my first year of football, and while the other kids were learning how to play, I was reading mythology, so I just got a foundation in Greek thought. I am a practical comparative theologist by the grace of God. I worship an omnipotent and eternal creator. I am subject to no foreign protection. I am not obligated to the limitations of what passes for intelligence these days.